Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. So glad you decided to tune in and check out the prospect action in the system from last night. It was a rainy night. It's been a rainy week, not really necessarily rainy, just kind of a nuisance, drizzly type of week in Oklahoma. Chilly, it's been in the 50s, so the crowds have been pretty small. Christian Romero got the start last night for the AAA Oklahoma City Comets. That is Kike Hernandez. We're going to get into him here in just a minute. But Christian Romero, wow, what a start for him. You know, when he came out in the first inning, that's Ryan Fitzgerald, by the way. Ryan, we're going to get into him today, too, has been playing mostly third base. Had a chance to interview him. Going to release that probably tomorrow. Him and James Outman obviously look so much alike. And they were together with the Twins, Ryan Fitzgerald and James being the outfielder, Ryan being the infielder. They called James outman, and they called Fitzgerald in-man. So I thought that was kind of funny. You'll see that. Look at that nice little cutter there. Christian Romero had the nice cutter working, the good fastball. That fastball sat around 94 to 95 last night with that cutter in on the hands of lefties. And then also his changeup, Christian Romero. That right there, that changeup is a big pitch. And if you remember for Romero, he was the guy that 2 years ago, while he was with Great Lakes, let me start that again, he was the one where the Dodgers kept calling up straight from Great Lakes to AAA Oklahoma City, and actually they called him straight from Great Lakes. He made his first start at Tacoma, which was that's a very difficult place to pitch because of the elevation and the ball carries and that kind of thing. And so I think they did that 3 different times to where he went straight from, don't exactly quote me on the number there, but I do think it was 3 different times to where Romero went straight from AAA Oklahoma, or straight from High A Great Lakes to AAA Oklahoma City. Then he went back down to AA Tulsa. Then I think once he went from Tulsa to Oklahoma City, then straight from Oklahoma City back to Great Lakes. And so he's just kind of been that guy to where whenever you need depth, because the big club, look at that nice little slider cutter pitch. Isn't that a nice pitch there from Romero? He's been that guy that whatever hole the organization's needed to fill due to, hey, maybe they've called 2 or 3 guys up to the big league club and they're short on a pitcher or 2. He's been the guy that's taken that bullet every single time and just done whatever the organization's asked. And not going to lie, I mean, the transition for him, he was a baby when he came up a couple of years ago. He's had some tough outings. That is a nice pitch. He's had some really tough outings in the last couple of years at the AAA level, and he's done nothing but work with Ryan Dennick, one of the pitching coaches, DA. That's a nice little 2-seamer there coming back in on a righty. That one backed up on him there. Probably didn't like that one as well. Done a great job just continuing to work with his pitching coaches, Ryan Dennick and David Anderson. They call him DA. And he's gotten better and better and better and better. So the good cutter, the good slider, the changeup, the breaking ball. 5 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run, 7 strikeouts, and 2 walks. So just an absolutely fantastic job by a young man. I've never had a chance to interview him because he's not real confident with his English, and so I don't have an interpreter on site, so he's always kind of hesitant to go on. Same with him and Carlos Duran. I've actually interviewed Carlos once, but we had an interpreter. But super proud of Christian Romero. He's continued just to fight through it, continue to find a better version of himself every time he's gone out, to the point to where he's really starting to pitch back-to-back, at least back-to-back outings at the AAA level this year. His last 2 in a row have been super fantastic. So great job, Christian Romero. And then here is a lefty that we remember that just came back down from L.A. This is Jake Eder right here. Jake Eder had a good scoreless inning last night for AAA Oklahoma City, and he filled in after Christian Romero. 2 innings pitched for Jake Eder. I think I said 1 inning. Actually, 2 innings for Jake Eder. 2 innings, no hits, no runs, 1 strikeout, no walks. ERA at the AAA level. Keep in mind the PCL is a tough place to pitch. 591, but that's, again, he only has like 5 or 6 outings at the AAA level. And one of the outings, which was at Albuquerque, and I'm just going to tell you, Albuquerque is one of the toughest places on earth to pitch. I mean, it's very difficult. One of his outings, he gave up 4 runs in a third of an inning. And when you're only going 1 inning or maybe 2 innings at a time, it's very difficult to overcome run really, really bad outing like that. So really, I think we can call that an outlier for Jake Eder. The rest of them have been pretty good, though. Beyond that outing, as a matter of fact, in his other 5 outings, so he's had 6 outings total at the AAA level. In his other 5 outings, he's given up just 1 run. So there's a good look at Jake Eder, who we know he is a guy that the LA Dodgers are looking at because he's already been up with the Major League club. Matter of fact, I think it's been his last 2 or 3 outings. Maybe 4 outings have been with AAA Oklahoma City, but keep your eye out on him. A good 2-inning outing last night for Jake Eder. And so the next guy that we're going to talk about is one that you probably not heard of, and we love to talk about those guys here on Dodgers Daily. Chase McDermott. Chase McDermott, 1 2/3 innings, no hits, no runs, 3 strikeouts, and a walk. Got his first save. And Chase McDermott has gone scoreless in 3 innings or 3 outings in a row. So who is Chase McDermott? Okay, the Orioles, about a month ago, they DFA'd him. So he was on the 40-man for the Orioles. There's Kike. Atta baby, Kike. Look at that play right there. He made 2 sensational plays last night. Chase McDermott got DFA'd by the Orioles, picked up by the Dodgers about a month ago, and to this point, ERA of 3.60, 4 seams in the 95-ish range, so a pretty good little 4-seam, and also tagged with a slider that he actually threw more than any other pitch. So slider heavy, Chase McDermott, that slider right there, and then a 4-seam that sits somewhere around the 95 range. So there's a good look at Chase McDermott, maybe one of those quad A guys that you're not as familiar with. Wanted to get you at least somewhat familiar with him and his outing last night. So good job, Chase McDermott. Also good job. You just saw this play. Watch this. Kike, get up. Make that play. That a boy right there. Turn that double play. Alex Freeland. How about a little Kike? Alex Freeland, Wardo. Right there. 5, 4, 3. Doesn't get any better than that. Let's go back behind us. Let's make the long throw. That's about a 50-yard throw right there. And we got an out. Kike Hernandez did a great job defensively. He hadn't quite got his stick going yet, but we know he will. And he played great defense last night. I wanted to show you those 2 plays. And sticking on the defensive theme, right next to Kike, how about a left side of your infield of Kike Hernandez at third, and then Noah Miller at shortstop. Wow, doesn't get much better than that. Watch this. Yep, right there. Okay, so routine play for a professional shortstop, no doubt. I'm not here to tell you, hey, look at that unbelievable player. I mean, I would say basically every major league shortstop would task themselves to making that play. They would assume they were going to make it. That's not kind of the point. The point is, look how routine he makes it. I mean, he makes, especially the plays coming in, going to his left, going to his right. That's a tougher play than he made it look. I'm just telling you. I've seen professional shortstops make that play look a lot harder than it is, especially, just the way that he fielded it, the way that he was able to spin right there, and then just really kind of understood instinct-wise, hey, I still have plenty of time, get my feet underneath me, make a nice throw to Wardo at first base. So it's not necessarily that he made the play, Noah Miller there. It's the way that he made it. It's the ease of which he made it in, and it's the stress that he took out of that play that I really like about that. That's most impressive to me. And he does that routinely. This isn't me talking. This is all of the guys that know a lot more about this than I do, that watch him play shortstop. They will all tell you the same thing about Noah Miller, and that is his defense is super good. And then at the AA level, Kenny George. So he hits the ball up the middle. Pay attention to that. So I got a base hit up the middle. Okay, now watch his next about. Look where the shortstop's playing. Right where he hit it last time? Well, then let's beat the shortstop to his right. Don't throw that. Come on, man. I mean, if you're going to take one step or basically more than one step to your either way, you're not getting Kenny George. Just eat that ball, throw it to third base. You're embarrassing yourself if you try to throw out Kenny George on a play like that. So he set up the defense with his first hit up the middle. Then they shaded him to where he got his first base hit. Then, see this right there. So then they shaded him to that. Then he beat them to the shortstop side of that. Just another way of how Kenny George is using his bat-to-ball skills to guide the baseball in spots on the field that can utilize his speed. Just absolutely fantastic job of using your carrying tool in Kenny George. He needs to improve the defense. There's no doubt about it. He needs to become a substantially better defender in center field. If he wants to be an everyday outfielder at the major league level, I'm not going to sugarcoat that. He's definitely a worker. He definitely can get that done, but there's still work to do on the defensive side of the ball. But as far as the offense, he's doing a great job of doing that right there. He has now 22 stolen bases on the year. He stole 2 last night. He actually got caught once. That was only his 3rd time of the year to get caught stealing. So he's got caught stealing 3 different times on the year, 22 stolen bases. I have digitally timed him to 3.55 to first base, which is elite, okay? I mean, that's just ridiculously elite. 329 average OPS of 819, on-base percentage of 419. So great job, Kenny George. And another big-time outfield prospect, by the way, Josue DePaula had a hit last night. So did Zaire Hope. Zaire Hope actually had a RBI base hit, but we won't get into him today. We'll have plenty of shows to cover Josue DePaula. But the guy that I did want to cover just got sent up to Double-A. That would be one Mr. Mike Sirota. Let me back this up, and let me show this. Doesn't even have a Tulsa Drillers helmet yet. Mike Sirota got 3 hits last night in a high A Great Lakes Loons helmet. How about that? It in minor league baseball, absolutely awesome. 3 hits on here you are, a Double-A team. You go, this dude doesn't even have a Double-A helmet yet, and he's just beating our ass with 3 base hits. And, of course, typical Mike Sirota, right down the right field line. And like we always say, just because you go opposite field, I will be there tomorrow night. My wife and I actually are going to Wichita to watch Tulsa. Can't wait. Peyton Martin's on the mound tonight for the Drillers. You don't have to just hit little parachutes to right field. Drive the ball the other way. So let's go around the world. Here's another hit. How about a double down the right field line, then a double down the left field line? You talk about going foul pole to foul pole. That was Mike Sirota last night. 3 hits in his 2nd game at Double-A Tulsa. 4 hits total in his first 2 games. 444 is the average of that between the 2 games that he's played with the Double-A Tulsa Drillers. So just fantastic job of making his transition to the Double-A level. Mike Sirota, and going around the world in terms of where he hit his doubles last night and hitting the ball very hard to both right field and left field. And then on the pitching side, let me actually get to Wyatt Crowell. I've got Evan Shaw queued up here, but let me actually kind of buy some time here and get to Wyatt Crowell, because he was simply fantastic. And I'm just going to tell you right now, this young man, Wyatt Crowell, and I'm just telling you I'm not wrong. I'm just telling you I'm not wrong. I'm wrong on a lot of things. I will not be wrong on this one. And of course, you never can tell with injuries, okay? So this is injuries notwithstanding. But I'm telling you right now, Wyatt Crowell will be a major leaguer, and he will be a very good major leaguer. That's how good Wyatt Crowell is. The times that I've said that in the past, I have not been wrong. I don't say that unless I'm super confident. I don't say that unless I have a lot of information behind me and just a lot of overall confidence, not just in myself, but in the overall evaluative systems of a player. Going to say it one more time. Wyatt Crowell will be a major leaguer, and he will be a very, very good one for a long time, as long as he can stay healthy. That's how good he is. That's how good his stuff is. That's how good the slider is, to the back door, to the back foot, any kind of shape that he wants to give it. 5 2/3 innings last night for the Double-A Tulsa Drillers. 2 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, and 5 walks. 5 walks aren't ideal, no doubt about it. But on the first 2 walks, he got double plays right behind it because it gives up a lot of ground balls. So that was that. And then one of the walks came right before he exited the game, and he threw 97 pitches. So the last walk he gave up just simply because he was completely out of gas, and he was at the end of his tank. So the slider looked really good last night. The fastball looked really good for Wyatt Crowell. Everything looked good last night for Wyatt Crowell. And just overall, this dude is really good. Both him and Luke Fox, who's on the IL right now, both of those guys are really, really good pitchers that don't get a whole lot of publicity in this system because there is so much talent, but they definitely need to be in your Rolodex because they're very good. And then this guy, Evan Shaw, whenever Wyatt Crowell, look at that play. Elijah Hainline had a baby. I love Elijah Hainline. He is such a good player. Wyatt Crowell ran out of gas. He was at 97 pitches. Nice little slider there. And so he left with the bases loaded in the 6th inning. That's a nice play. Kyle Nevin, not a baby, coming to make that play. Matter of fact, Kyle Nevin, I was there the day that he made his Double-A debut, and it was at that facility there in Wichita at third base. And I can tell you the defense at third base for that whole weekend at Wichita was ugly for Kyle Nevin, okay? He has gotten so much better at third base. Very impressive. But back to Evan Shaw. He came in with 2 outs and the bases loaded. In 1 pitch, got a fly ball to center field, and that was all she wrote for the 6th inning. Then he shut down the 7th inning and the 8th inning, made those 2 innings boring, got into his rocking chair, was throwing that backdoor slider, was locating to both sides of the plate, was getting weak contact, also swing and miss with the fastball up in the zone. And so, the saying that I always use is get a lead and make it boring. That's exactly what he did last night. Evan Shaw, when he's throwing strikes and he's commanding the strike zone, does a great job of controlling basically what a hitter can and can't do to him because he's throwing to locations that hitters can't hurt him on. So good job last night, Evan Shaw. And then another guy that you need to know about, okay? This is a guy, Kelvin Ramirez, big dude. He can throw at 100 miles an hour, okay? This is another power arm, and he has that slider right there. This is a guy that you need to know. This is a guy that's really good. Now, has he always been perfect? Of course not. He went on a big heater last year, and then he struggled for a while. And now this year, he's on another heater. His ERA to this point, Kelvin Ramirez, 2.25. Average against for Kelvin Ramirez, 164. That's about a 98er right there, okay? Ride and run. That's a big-time pitch. That's not a good pitch. That's a big-time pitch right there. That slider that you just saw a minute ago, that's not a good pitch. That's a big-time pitch. So just to kind of show you, look at the run on that pitch. That's nasty. You saw up and in. You saw down and in. That slider wasn't very good, backed up on him. But because he's so good, his stuff is so good, he has a lot of margin for error, then that one wasn't a very good one either. So see, you kind of see there, the stuff is explosive. It's fantastic. The execution isn't always perfect, but because there's a nice changeup too, man. Look at that. But because the stuff is so good, Kelvin Ramirez has quite a bit of margin for error, and because of that, he goes on long heaters. So just keep your eye out on Kelvin Ramirez. That's a nice pitch there. Very good player, a very good pitcher for at the Double-A level right now, and a guy that has all of the trademarks of what you would want. Kind of a not quite as explosive version of an Edgardo Henriquez, right? So let's kind of compare him to that. Again, maybe 2 or 3 ticks below in terms of velocity, but that kind of that type of pitcher. And then last night for the Great Lakes Loons, Zack Root. Zack Root is hitting 97 miles an hour, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, 97, and the slider, the changeup, all the stuff, really good. And he was really, really good last night, Zack Root was. 3 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, 6 strikeouts, and 3 walks. ERA is down to 2.77 for the Dodgers' number 1 pick last summer, the summer of 2025. See that change up to the outer half there. Explosive stuff, man. I mean, he's always been, see that little cutter to the back door? Okay, he's always been a guy that's executed very well. Look at that back foot slider. That's big time. So you've seen the cutter, the change up, the back foot slider. There's the back door slider. Cutter, the change up, back foot slider, back door slider. You saw it all right there in that sequence. And so he's always been a guy that's been very good at executing in terms of locating, sequencing, that kind of deal. Now the Dodgers have unlocked that fastball, and he's at 97. It reminds me of Ben Kasparius, a guy that was always execution focused. Then when they unlocked the fastball, got him in the higher 90s, that's whenever he took that final step. So super exciting to see Zack Root pitch as well as he has. Again, the ERA on the year, 2.77. Average against for Zack Root, 1.76. 20 strikeouts in 13 innings. So fantastic job, Zack Root. And let's go down to the single A level with the Ontario Tower Buzzers and Ching Shin Ko. Ching Shin Ko hit a last night. Let's actually do this right here. He hit a grand slam right there. Let me back that up. Grand slam, Ching Shin Ko. That a baby. How about that? Okay. 8th home run of the year for Ching Shin Ko, OPS of 928. 3 hits in the first game for the Tower Buzzers. 6 total bases. Obviously, your total bases total is going to go up quite a bit when you hit a grand slam. 266 so far for Ching Shin Ko, and his OPS is 928. Love that pull side power, especially on a right-handed breaking ball. So, you always hear the term in baseball, go with the pitch. So let me show you here. To a righty, I hope you can see this, a right-handed breaking ball is actually going to break like this, correct? So if it's going to come in on a lefty, actually to go with that pitch, a lefty would then pull a right-handed breaking ball. That's why if you're a right-hander and it's breaking like this, to go with it would go opposite field. It's the opposite for lefty. If you're going to actually go with the pitch on a right-handed breaking ball, that means you're going to pull it right there. Bingo. And, of course, that one was hung. You hang them, we bang them. Ching Shin Ko, great job with the grand slam right there. Great job. Again, I'm going to say it. Going with the pitch, which is a right-handed breaking ball that is breaking right down into his swing, and he did not miss it once he got it. And then another young man that had probably the best performance of anybody on the night, I would say, no doubt about that, is Easton Shelton. How about have a day, young man? 3 hits in the first game. Ontario played a doubleheader yesterday. And then he added 2 more hits in the second game. So 5 hits total. Hit streak went to 10 games, 3 multi-hit games in a row. He's 11 for his last 21, 2 doubles, 5 home runs, 13 RBIs. He has his batting average over 250. It's going to all come down to, can Easton Shelton keep that power? Young man that went undrafted out of Bishop Gorman High School, okay? Can he keep the power? I mean, he is a strong dude while reducing I do think he's going to have to reduce the strikeouts, okay? And he's going to have to do so while keeping the power. So that's the process for Easton Shelton. But when he gets a hold of one and when he gets hot, this young man can absolutely do damage. So, hey, I want to thank you for tuning in to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. Just a wonderful night of action. Again, going to be a fun action night. River Ryan goes for AAA Oklahoma City. Peyton Martin for the AA Tulsa Drillers. So make sure and tune into that. Until next time, which will hopefully be maybe tomorrow night, probably not. My wife and I are going on a road trip. Look for a live show on Saturday with Austin and I. That'll probably be the next time that I talk to you wonderful Dodgers dogs out there. So until then, I want everybody to have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as a reminder, it's a great day to be a Dodger.